Hey, what's up guys? Today's video I want to talk on a sub 2 hour half marathon strategy that's going to get you better results over the long haul. As I've stated in a lot of other videos, there's so many athletes around the world that are trying to break the 2 hour half marathon barrier. And I really believe that working smarter is the way to go rather than working harder. I've had to learn my own lesson of thinking that higher volume and higher mileage was the answer to running faster over the half marathon and marathon distances. I got up to 142 miles a week training for the marathon as well as the half marathon distance, and quickly realized that that was not the answer. And I started running personal best for the half marathon as well as the marathon when I got down to 85 to 90 miles a week. So in terms of you thinking, in terms of you preparing for your sub 2 hour half marathon strategy, I want you guys really focused on pace sustainment and thinking about, okay, I need to run 9 minutes and 9 seconds per mile or 5 minutes and 41 seconds per kilometer for this entire distance. So what are the steps? What is the sub 2 hour half marathon strategy that I need to be focused on the most in order to sustain this effort over that particular distance? And there's nothing that can take the place of consistency in your preparation. You cannot be half-assed and one toe in and one toe out to run 1:59:59 or faster over this distance. That is a very competitive time. So it does take consistency and persistent action on your part in order to become a sub 2 hour half marathon specialist. On RunDreamAchieve.com, I've built a specific course called the sub 2 hour half marathon domination course, where I teach athletes from around the world to be able to sustain that pace. We want to get you to be able to hold 9 minutes and 9 seconds per mile or 5 minutes and 41 seconds per kilometer on a consistent effort, on a consistent basis. I want you to not, you know, there's far too many athletes that are working very hard to break this 2 hour barrier, but they still miss it. So why? Why is that? A big reason is they just have not spent sufficient time training at their anaerobic threshold. They've not only spent, they need to spend longer periods of time training at longer durations at their anaerobic threshold or their lactate threshold. That's the point where lactic acid starts building up in our bloodstream. And the reason why athletes that break the 2 hour half marathon, okay, make it look so easy is because they have trained at paces that far exceed 9 minutes and 9 seconds per mile, 5:41 per kilometer pace. They're on the track doing repetitions, mile repeats, or kilometer repetitions at around 5:10 to 5:15 per kilometer, maybe say 6 to 10 reps at that effort, or they're doing 1 mile repetitions on the track at around 8:10 to 8:15 per rep with minimal rest. So again, the key thing is, as you're trying to prepare for your half marathon, sub 2 hour half marathon strategy leading into 2021, I want you guys thinking about running at paces that are much, much faster than your race pace, okay? It's not gonna be easy. There's just no way to be able to sustain sub 2 hour half marathon pace for that amount of time without training at harder efforts. Now, that being said, the answer sometimes isn't always speed training. You can still break a 2 hour half marathon by just running volume over an extended period of time and being very consistent with your efforts. And there's nothing that can build up that strength to break a sub 2 hour half marathon like volume. And it's not just high volume, but consistent volume, where you're focusing on not just mileage, but you're also doing those strides and you're working on your leg speed, coupled with the track sessions where you're doing those repeat Ks at paces that are closer to your 5K to 10K race effort, so that you make sub 2 hour half marathon pace feel much more relaxed and in control. What you want is to you want to sustain pace in the race, but you want to make sure that in the last 5K of that half marathon that you can actually pick up pace and be able to not slow down or slow down less than your competition. Okay, so as you're training for your sub 2 hour half marathon and you're thinking about your sub 2 hour half marathon strategy, think also about the importance of your long run. Okay, I've talked about how I was able to drop my half marathon from 110 down to 107.06 and my marathon down from 243.36 down to 219.35. I want to continue to emphasize this because this is one of the biggest reasons why I was able to drop my half marathon personal best down to that fast of a time. It was because of my long run. When I was out of shape and I was just starting my build up, all I was focused on in regards to my long run was lengthening the distance of my long run. And if you're trying to break a 2 hour half marathon, just lengthening the distance that you're spending on your feet can get you to a point where you can run that fast. So think often about the importance of your long run, of how far you're going, but also as you get fitter, the amount of time you're spending at a higher percentage of your maximum heart rate. When I got my best results, I would be doing my long runs at around 85% of my maximum heart rate, which was about 160 beats per minute. And I would spend a longer duration of my long run spent at that particular effort. But as I got fitter, what I would do is I would spend a longer duration of my long run spent at a heart rate of 160 beats per minute, or around 85% of my maximum heart rate. And it was very uncomfortable. It was very hard to adjust to these types of long runs, but I would always focus on recovery. So if you're trying, in terms of your sub 2 hour half marathon strategy, recovery is oftentimes more important than the workouts themselves, because all of the benefits of your hard work come from within the rest period. So the most taxing workout I did was not the mile repeats at under 450 per rep at altitude, or the sub 10 minute 2 mile repetitions, 3 by 2 mile repetitions under 10 minutes per rep when I was very fit. It wasn't those types of workouts. It wasn't the 16 times 200 meter repetitions between 32 to 35 seconds per rep with about a 100 meter rest period in between. It was, of course, those hard anaerobic VO2 max type workouts were critical for me to eventually run 107.06 and 219 for the marathon. But it was my long run that was the most taxing workout. The harder effort long run was my most taxing effort that helped propel me to run a 107 half and a 219 marathon. But it was always the following week after that harder long run, I was always jogging. Okay, so this is why, and I would spend between 2 and 3 days of jogging after that harder long run. So I would ensure that I would recover from those efforts. So after about 2 to 3 days of easy jogging recovery, then I would get back on the track and I would do, say for example, I would do mile repetitions, 5 to 6 1 mile repetitions, anywhere from 445 to 455 per repetition, with around 3 minutes recovery when I was earlier on in my training. And as I got very fit, I would give myself 2 minutes recovery. So with you trying to break a sub 2 hour half marathon, your sub 2 hour half marathon strategy needs to revolve around first laying the foundation of building base mileage, and then beginning into specific training, progressing into gradually faster efforts on the track, as well as longer durations at your anaerobic threshold for your tempo run. And then as you get fitter, you start tapering down. And I'm a big believer in a 10-day taper rather than a 3-week taper. All of my training programs on RunDreamAchieve.com, as well as my running courses, all have a 10-day taper rather than a 3-week taper. I've always set personal best with 10 days rather than 3 weeks, because I've tried the 3 weeks as well, and it certainly does work for a lot of athletes. But I've often felt that if you start dropping your mileage and your intensity 3 weeks out, it will oftentimes lead you to feeling lethargic and fatigued, rather than waiting until 10 days out from your main event. So if, in terms of your sub 2 hour half marathon strategy, I think doing that and making those small changes in how you conduct your long run will get you under that 2 hour half marathon barrier. So I want to leave you guys with those thoughts. Hopefully this video has been helpful for you guys. Feel free to leave me a comment below. Let me know what's on your mind in regards to what has caused you the biggest issue with the half marathon distance. And if you have broken the 2-hour half marathon already, let me know in the comment section below what your current best for the half marathon is and what your goal is for the half marathon now that you've run that specific time. So if you're brand new to the channel, my name is Nate Pennington. I'm the founder of RunDreamAchieve.com. I've run 2:19 for the marathon, former member of the U.S. Army World Class Athlete Program, qualified for 2 World Armed Forces Cross Country Championship teams. So I've experienced a lot of great experiences in the sport, met a lot of athletes, great athletes, beginner level athletes, all the way up to the elite level athletes that have taught me everything that I know and what I teach here on the channel. Leave me a comment, let me know what's on your mind, and if there's any specific topics you want me to cover in my next video, feel free to let me know, and I will either answer your questions or I will make a video about answering your specific question. I'll talk to you guys all in the next video.